Honestly, they don't.
I mean,
my
It's certainly
kids
within
doesn't
5
have
years? Would it be certainly within 5 years, the
it.
HR
I
road?
think so.
you know,
It's,
the motivation is
I
there.
don't think you
the funding is there.
mentioned what happened with the Green Road traffic, Green Ranch traffic.
Yeah, that's,
Well,
Well, Robert, what, that was a side distance issue, right, agree, is that what you're mentioning?
Well, I'm talking about making them go to that signal and making a U-turn.
Right.
and all that.
That's what I'm saying, that we were asking, okay, why did we allow those guys, the Green Branch residents to make a right and turn around and make it safer because they're trying to cross through lanes?
Yeah,
And
you
so
have
we're saying
school
we can
buses, you
incorporate it, yeah, why did we allow those traffic to make sure they go around,
And
use
it's,
that?
it's working on South Loop on Cuatro Vientos.
Yeah.
Take a right,
Exactly.
you wanna take those residents all the way to
Yes.
the
All the way
line
to
and
the
turn
line.
around?
No, we were looking
Yes.
already of finding a way, where can we turn them back? But now with this, it's an option, but we're just looking at see how we can do it, cause it's safer for them to make a right and try to cross through lanes of traffic.
It's, and I know it sounds like it, you don't make it, but at that crossing they have there, okay, first of all, I'm sorry if I'm taking too much time away.
No,
But
No,
we
it's fine.
put median crossovers on this road a long time ago, before development came in, okay? Developers come in and they see a median crossover, and that's what they want to put there, okay? In this case, that crossover was put in without any thought to the site distance, it was just spaced out, I'm quite sure. So they came in here and they put a crossover there. Okay. The site distance there is horrendous. I will, as long as I'm there, I will never allow traffic signal there. You're coming up, big curve right there, there's no way in the world I'll allow it. I mean, you'll have to wait till I'm gone or me overruled or whatever. So, my next step, before this even happened, I've been monitoring the situation, and unfortunately, I'm waiting to see the accidents happen, but I can honestly see an 18-wheeler coming and broadsiding a car or a bus, and we're talking about a lot of people getting hurt. So my next step was, if the city wasn't gonna do what I think the city needed to do, I was gonna close out that crossover. That crossover belongs to me, it doesn't belong to anybody else. It's not part of the development, whatever. So if it's unsafe, which I really believe is unsafe, my next step was just to put some barricades, and my guys go out with a backhoe and dig it up in one day.
wasn't that a proposed, where the HR road's gonna
Yeah.
hit Pines
Well,
Road?
I don't know. I mean,
No, it's,
No,
it's at,
the
it's
chart
south
north
of
of
the end,
it.
can you show it over here, that's what I wanted to mention, that there's
All the
also
way up to
mentioned,
Okay.
a char's supposed to hit like
right there, somewhere there, which is, so that means,
So it's not gonna be here at Green Ranch then?
it's gonna be right there.
They'll eventually come in and
Very
touch.
close.
And we hear that it's gonna be signalized.
right. Or
So-
something's gonna.
So it'll be
The
on the,
first phase will be signalized to connect to 1472, so now you have another signal. there.
so Green Ranch is gone for the HR road? That's
No,
what
no,
you're saying?
That's where we were told that was the connection right there.
That's what I was told,
Yeah.
is
No,
that
that's-
the connection,
no,
that
that's
the
it.
connection would be right here, and it would go that way.
No, we've seen, I guess,
No.
schematics.
Right, so it's gonna be over
right
here
there.
somewhere.
Well, that's the end of, right.
Right, so this is not HR road after
No,
all?
no, sir.
Okay, yeah, just,
Yeah.
that's why I said,
Yes,
so
sir.
you're gonna put a signal here, then a signal here, then a
Yes,
signal here?
that's what we're looking.
But what makes sense to me, but of course you know all the studies, is what's happening in Cuatro Vientos South. Residents are coming out, there's no traffic signal, they take a right,
And make the
they
left.
merge the traffic, go onto the left, make a U-turn, and they're gone, they're going north. That makes,
Would you like or don't like?
what's that?
You like or don't like?
That works fine.
Thank
So
you,
that-
thank you.
that's what you're
Thank you.
proposing Green Ranch to
It
do.
looks fine
You
because
can go
There's your
like this,
one.
make a
you're
U-turn and go.
you're not talking about tractor trailers, you know, there's.
Right, cars,
I think you're correct, Cuatro Vientos, the fact that you have them go around, but this is a totally different animal, and then you're having love that's
Well,
coming
right,
in.
yeah, well, I'm talking about Green Ranch, cause,
Yeah, no, I
Because Green
understand
Ranch.
that.
you know, what Ms. McGee is.
Anyways, they'll make a right turn and then go to a
Yeah.
turnaround. The turnaround can be before the signal, it can be signalized separately, it could be a different thing. But it'll be a safer movement. I would like to close up Pico Road, to tell you the truth. Pico Road's got a real bad side distance problem too.
Because of the curve that's coming in this way,
Well, no, Pico Road is like in the bottom of the curve,
right in there.
yeah,
Pues empieza a bajar.
yeah. And now we passed by there must have been, what, 20 tractor trailers parked in front? Yeah, so you keep going. And unfortunately, that's where I think the cement trucks come out, and they move very, very slowly.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. I don't know if you, go to the intersection, then turn back around, see if you can look back the other way. and you'll see how drastic it is. You see, go back real quick, Robert, you see in the distance, way up there? That's where Green Ranch is. You see that vertical curve right there?
Yeah,
There's no way I'm gonna put a signal. And I dare you to find an engineer that'll seal a traffic design for that. Oh, and look at this, see?
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
So all these crossovers were put in just to give people a chance when it was very rural, but everybody comes in with their development, and now we're caught in the middle of, is it safe or not? In my opinion, it's not. You know, I'll work with the city and developers and they're almost, when it comes to safety, I can't, you know, my ethics don't allow me to say, okay, I can allow a few people to get killed a year.
No, you're right.
I wanted to add, to Chairman, that, in the report, it also mentions that one possible alternative to the signal, that you're saying, the Michigan left turn, which basically you push, basically kind of what it happens on US 83, my understanding. You push you left turn further down, make a U-turn, come back. But they're saying because of the speed limit, the weaving requirements too much, it can't comply with that. But we're telling them, give us other alternatives in the signal, if you, otherwise you show us how it's gonna work, if you put see how it's gonna work.
We went out there, I'm sorry, we went out there and looked at it,
Yeah.
and I had driven back, up to go play golf, I was coming back one day. And I was surprised that just by clearing all those, I think you had a good picture of that, Robert, right?
Yes, there's some
You had a-
pictures that go.
There's one good picture of that that shows,
That's what I wanted
by
to show.
removing
a lot of
all
pictures.
the brush in the middle, it really makes it look a lot more urban.
There used to be a lot of,
I'm more comfortable with putting a signal out now
Yeah.
than I was before.
which we, if we're gonna do it, the one of the things we need to do is lower the speed limit, right, Danny?
It was one of your first pictures. I think after that one, yeah, see, you see right there? You see how the building is almost encroaching onto the highway? I mean, it makes it look a lot more urbanized. And when,
It used to
when
be
you
all
get
covered.
that, people start slowing down. You know, you're going 80 miles an hour when you see no real reason to slow down. But now you're coming back through there, it looks a lot more urbanized. Now, I could easily see us going back and doing a speed study, probably going down to 60 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour.
That was another concern with the
But-
speed limits.
Going back to your comments, that's why I was saying that, you know, even though, you know, they're paying for the study, I think the city should have an input to where that traffic light it's gonna go, because in the future, as the city's growing and more development's growing towards that side, I mean, you know, they're gonna spend, how much is a traffic light, 300,000-400,000?
No, about 125, 150,000.
Maybe in the future, they're gonna have to move it. And once a char road in 5 or 10 years, because apparently it's a priority.
Well, unfortunately, and you guys can see correctly, but the way it works is, the city and Texas have a contract. It's called the Municipal Maintenance Agreement. In it, it spells out that any highway in the city limits, if you want a traffic seal, the city does a study, installs it, operates it, maintains it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? And most of the cases where a developer comes to the city, they've been coming to us, but in this one I said, no, we're not gonna do that, we're gonna do it the right way, we're supposed to, okay? So it's coming to the city right now. I don't think you have the budget for a signal, whether it's moved down the road or not. So if the developer doesn't pay for this signal here, you're not gonna have the money to put in the signal somewhere else. I mean, I don't know if I'm misspeaking.
No,
Sorry for
that's
that.
correct.
It's not
Okay,
in the-
much less two signals. And in the past, there's been times where Textile will pay for a signal here and there, but it really is the city's burden to put the traffic signal. So, what it comes down to is, I haven't gotten the report yet, but I've already given a lot of input. They're gonna have to satisfy all the requirements that makes it safe. And I think it's a good solution, not the best, but it's a decent solution.
And is there a chance for you to actually get rid of that crossover?
Which one?
For Green Ranch?
Yeah.
Is that something that you're actually thinking about, or is it something you want done?
I'm this close to doing it. It's just, every time I go through there, I'm scared. I mean, I really am. I see these 18-wheelers going 75, 80 miles an hour, and the cars.
And it
the
is-
cars-
If someone's gonna get hurt, I think it's a damn good idea to close it out.
The thing is though, and I hope I'm not really quoted here today, is
No.
the reality is, if I do something preemptively before somebody gets hurt, why are you doing that, why are you doing that, why are you doing
Are
that?
they still
But if
constructing?
I wait until somebody gets hurt, then how come you didn't do
So,
it before?
so
So
they're
I
projecting
can't
how many
win.
hours?
Be proactive.
Mr. McGeehan, do you feel that two
That's pretty
traffic
nice.
signals are needed, or
Yeah.
would one be
No,
sufficient?
let me, can you go to that area, Robert? Am I talking too much?
No.
I have a tendency to.
You're talking too little.
If you go,
You're not being recorded, don't worry about it.
Mr. Bonilla talked about this earlier, but I guess he kind of flew through it, but you're gonna have the loves here. And then you have the, that's okay.
Okay.
You have the ice thing here, right? They're gonna connect the road here.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have all that truck traffic. The thing is, trucks take a wide radii turn, okay? So you're not gonna be able to turn these guys here and these guys here at the same time, or these guys here and this guy. So what you gotta do is turn that one, go to yellow, red, turn that one, go yellow, red, turn this one, go yellow, red, and then turn the other one yellow, red. I mean, you're gonna talk about a 4-minute signal because, why? Trucks take forever. They go through 5-6 gears just to get to 20 miles an hour. So that's what he was talking about. It was on his report. It says you got to figure out. So by doing that, it's going to take forever. So what I was suggesting is, and we talked about it a lot, is we can do some of the movements here, some of the movements here, so that the movements happen at the same time. In other words, it's easy to see if you have a left out of here, you turn it this way, and a left out of here, they can happen at the same time. Because now what you do is you separate all the movements. And we have so much storage in here that we can store the vehicles inside. Then you release them, this one and this one at the same time, then the trucks only stop here, they don't stop here again here. Same thing with the other direction. They stop here, but once you get to here, you don't stop again.
It's just
So
the
there's different ways of writing it. But in my opinion, one signal here, can you imagine all these guys trying to get to here, and then when this one develops, there's no way. And do you mind if I talk about one more thing just real quick? This is more like the future stuff.
Mr. Chairman,
Go down to the subdivision where Pan American is. This is a lot more than you probably wanna know, but it really helps what we're trying to do out here. Okay. In the future, if the city ever goes to a TIA ordinance, or you get more of these things here, this subdivision here, is that Pan American?
Yes.
Pan American. you got
That's
Trade
International,
Center.
Pan American's up there.
Okay, but zoom out.
Zoom out.
I'm sorry, yeah, zoom out.
That's Pan American, oh,
That's
that's.
Pan American
Okay.
Street, and then you got your Trade Center right there. Okay, every consultant that goes out, they go to a study that's generated by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, traffic engineers, and they get numbers from there, okay? Just to kind of predict how much traffic is gonna be coming out of a subdivision, okay? What I did is I went out here and I took my own traffic counts, because in my opinion, nobody in the nation has what we have as far as traffic. So I believe that they're vastly undercounting. So this study that they're doing right now, I told them, you go back and use my numbers, or you do your own study, because the IT numbers that they do do not do any justice. So that's just for your own benefit, is that whenever somebody comes in with studies, they're basing it on something that's happening in Seattle or anywhere else, and they don't have the numbers of trucks that we do. So just keep that in mind. Anytime somebody comes in and says, we're using these numbers, well, show me the numbers where they're coming from. So I did, at Texas expense, I took all this right here, and I assigned so many trucks per acre, so that they use the same thing up there. Because you don't, a few years
So
ago.
you're basically taking an average of that industrial
Right,
park to
because-
calculate the movements.
Right.
The other one.
Mhm.
Now, I saw at the appraisal district where the Mullers want to develop another little piece and then another little piece.
It's already being developed.
It's already doing that?
Yeah. We went out there.
Residential?
No, more.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, we were kind of joking at it, saying, we already have too many trucks, so what do you want to do? Let's build more warehouses. Yeah, but they're already moving dirt then. So
Sir.
that was just an FYI.
So just, the two lights, they're gonna go up pretty quick, right? Like, we're talking around,
If we decide to do that, yeah.
what I'm seeing here, right, you have that residential, what is it, green?
Yeah, it's green
Right.
ranch.
and we're talking about right now they have what, 600 homes, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're,
Okay, and then a little bit lower than that, I saw that there's a mobile home park.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's another 100,
and then you have La Bota Ranch.
and then you have La Bota, and if I'm not mistaken, the subdivision up there is still gonna be building homes, right?
Yeah.
Mark,
Yeah.
Chairman, do you have any idea how many homes are gonna fit there?
No.
Where,
At the green?
I believe that's.
In other words,
that's it.
I think this gentleman is correct, that this is gonna be a monster. I think,
I'm sitting here today with a smile on my face that I'm not trying to show too much, but what your comments are all telling me one day you're gonna get to the TIA ordinance I've been trying to push for a long time.
But-
Because you can see the impact that happens when you just add and add and add with no planning to it.
I think honestly, I think those lights should be based on 10-year figures. Not for right now. If you're thinking that they're gonna put one light and you have a chance to get 2 lights, then go get those 2 lights. Because it's not a matter of if we're gonna need it, you're gonna need it. And it's not gonna be a case if you should maybe close that, you're gonna have to close that.
Well, the other thing you need to look at, and they probably won't, a lot of people won't like what I'm going to say, developments like that in the middle
Of an
of a
industrial.
seal
Yeah.
warehousing,
Yeah.
and it's going to grow a lot more, that's,
Alright,
that's
now,
crazy.
let's say I had my house there, and we're gonna close that little area. How far is the drive from there to the turnaround of what is it, in Mine Road?
Which way?
Like,
No, this, yeah.
okay.
It would be
Saying coming
right
the
here.
first turnaround.
Yeah,
With a 5-minute, like you said, you're gonna have that.
So those
It's gonna be a
people need to
5-minute
leave.
light.
I live off of Cuatro Vientos. Every morning I come out at Jalapa, I don't know if anybody knows what it is. I have to go south, a mile and a quarter, make a U-turn and come back around. I'd rather do that than go through all these other
oh
traffic
yeah,
signals.
oh yeah.
So, if I can go a lot safer.
I didn't know what that was, that's why, when they said, to go all the way around, and I said, now that
Can you
I
measure, Robert?
understand it more.
From here to here,
It's,
Mr. Chairman, this is Pico Road, right? This is
Yeah.
Pico? The problem is that there is a turnaround here, but this is not, you also have a side distance issue. We don't wanna make him turn here, cause there's
No,
a
they
problem.
need-
Right,
they
they
need
need
more.
more.
You gotta take it all the way down, and that's what we're looking at. Why did we take him there? We close this one, do something with this one.
Well,
We wanna close it and encourage them to go through
but
this.
you have 18-wheelers that are gonna be doing that.
Exactly, that's the issue.
You would have to put a designated lane for
Because
turning
here-
like they do in Cuatro Vientos.
Right, we need to work on
What
that. You cannot do it here. What I'm saying that if we close it now,
1.7 miles.
you're forcing him to make a U-turn here, and here there's a little, it's a problem, you can't really see.
So
If you
it's
close it, we're
excessive
looking
amount.
at,
In the Mexican.
yeah.
This is gonna be a headache.
Yeah,
Now, the other thing, and, like he said, this is for future reference, we are not counting on developments on the Mexican side. But once those developments start, on the Mexican side, you're gonna have Bridge 4 in Colombia going crazy, and who's gonna take all the traffic? Mines Road. Mines Road should be 3 lanes each side. I know, we probably don't have the money, but that's why I was saying last time, that Char Road, that should be a priority right now. I know it takes time for studies and all that, but we shouldn't be talking about 5 years. We should be talking a year and a half, 2 years, I don't know how long it's gonna take. But that's how urgent those roads are for Laredo. And Nuevo Laredo is going to develop in the next 2-3 years, you'll see it.
And
So that means
that
more
helps.
plants on the Mexican side, more trucks, which is good for everybody, but, we're gonna have to deal with the traffic.
I think as a committee, it's in our title, traffic and safety. To me, those residents, the mobile homes, and that development of houses, that's priority. Because they're gonna be just intertwined with that business, and it needs priority. I mean, whatever we can do to alleviate, I mean, it's dangerous. Whatever we can do to help them to keep safe and, I mean,
Avoid accidents.
that's crazy. That's,
I really believe we're being a lot more proactive than we've ever been, but we still have more to go.
that's awesome. I mean, that's good,
But it's great what you said about your numbers, you know, I've been to a bunch of meetings and I never knew that those numbers matter because, you know, you think that whoever's doing the study is taking into account, you know, the traffic in Laredo and you're right, they're probably using some other numbers and we didn't even know.
Just always, when it comes to consultants, you kinda, depending on how you look at it, you kinda always have to feel for them. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, if they wanna do work for anybody, they have to do the best for their client to get what the client wants. But then they have to come to the city or to me and not look like fools with numbers that don't make sense.
Yes.
So they're walking a very fine line, and that, I feel for them. So, we try and work with them, that's what we're trying to do.
I have a quick question, Mr. Chairman. Is the Green Ranch, is it gonna connect to the Achar Road through the back area? Or are they gonna have to, what I'm saying is, instead of them going in through Mines Road, if it was connected through a back way to the Achar Road, they could go to 35 and then access. I don't know if that's in
Well,
the,
I think the last time we,
I had seen a plan
Yes,
that that's what they
There is a
did.
connection in the back.
The original plan that I saw showed a Char Road intersection here and going out that way, all the way over there. That was a long time ago.
So, if I may, Mr. Chair,
With modified sense.
what we had discussed, at least staff-wise, with TxDOT, was that perhaps, and if you can zoom into Green Ranch, what could be a possibility, we don't know how that would work, on the engineer side, but if you can close off, as Mr. McGee said, close off that intersection there, force them right, but you would have a connecting, road to maybe even Millennium Park, itself, to get out through that exit, if nothing else, to provide some sort of relief into that area, if there was an option, and we haven't discussed this, in any detail, but we're trying to have those sort of conversations, everything is on the table, so, yeah, we've had that, where that People's Boulevard kinda, connects up into that, World Trade area, so that people can actually exit through World Trade Center Loop. But because of that same idea, wanting to close it down or shut it down, we don't disagree with that as well, because we think it makes sense for us also to recommend them, forcing them out, right, because of that, sight distance problem.
You just have to be careful mixing cars with trucks.
yeah,
That's the
I-
problem you're gonna
I
have.
see it happening at Pan American and Trade, the cars, especially the workers, they start getting in between trucks and stuff.
They're weaving through.
It's not the truck that are causing problems, it's
It's
the
the
cars.
cars.
They get impatient and they
And I'm
start trying.
guilty of that.
Yeah.
I am. That's why you would have to do right in, if you were to have this, you would have to do a designated turning lane area to come in, and then one over here to merge, so that can continue. And then let the trucks use that other one on World Trade Center. Unless you were to move this further up, but short of that area. Or further down.
And we
Put it
talked,
over here.
and we talked about doing something just like that at Green Ranch, is, we did something similar like that at Mangana High, is we had a left turn, and then it has an acceleration like here, right here. So they could turn and then accelerate
And then
right
I could
here.
go over to the
That would, but the thing is, I'm still scared of
that.
right here, because these trucks are just.
You're probably better off, like you said, eliminating that, but move this one over here so that they come in here to a lane and then take off.
But you have to give them a chance, because if you have to give the cars a chance to kind of pick
To
up speed,
accelerate.
because if you have the trucks moving at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, and you have a turning lane, you're gonna have a problem anyway, because nobody respects that turning lane. They want to go into the traffic, and you see it on the loop all the time. they take the middle lane,
Mhm.
and you just see cars either braking or trying to move either to the left or to the right, because, you know, they're turning into a lane that they're not supposed to. And,
But I guess that,
What?
to answer your, I guess, I don't know if it's really a question or a statement, but who builds that turnaround, who builds that decel?
It'd have to be the city, I guess. I mean,
And that's why if you had,
who built it in Cuatro Vientos?
the Cuatro Vientos, I did.
You did, you could, because, I mean, that worked, to me, it works fine, and like he said, but there's a long stretch, you go in and you go, but I see the cars, cause I go use that road all the time. But you see the cars come here and take off all the way to the left, and you're coming on the left, and whoa.
safety wise, I would much rather see them move go all the way up to the light, if the lights go on, and turn, than to build another one and
But the
just
problem is
risk.
those, is mixing 18-wheelers with
Well,
vehicle.
yeah,
but-
but four minutes,
The
five
traffic,
minutes,
the
you can
traffic
fix
is
it.
wrong.
Turn around.
I mean, there's nothing you
Yeah,
can do
anywhere
about that.
between, I mean, just gotta check the side distance.
The trucks are there,
High school
and
there.
from what we
Yeah.
see, we're gonna see a lot more trucks in that area,
Yeah.
so the trucks
Yeah.
won't go away.
I think,
Guess so.
the city engineers need to really earn their paycheck on this one.
But like I said, the main thing I wanna get is that you guys are discussing this, you're seeing all the things, and I don't think in the past there was so much discussion about it, so it's good to hear that.
No.
Well, and so just a couple last things, some political points to just put in your back pocket, right? So
Yeah.
we have the actual technical traffic stuff. So, the council member of the district, at this point right now is entirely convinced that no light should come on Mines Road, period, without question. All stop, it stops there. He hasn't been convinced. I don't know if he's been shown some options, but at this point, he's told me in no uncertain terms, tell whoever you need to tell, I'm not gonna support, any more signals going up on Mines Road. Which makes sense, in the sense of not wanting to, add more stops, but it might not make more sense in traffic management. Two, US Cold Storage has a lot of wind behind their back as well in support for their project, and so does Love's. But US Cold Storage was supported with a large investment from the city side as well. And so they got a large tax abatement. So there is a lot of push, positive push for the success of all the businesses, right? But this one had a support through a tax abatement incentive to the tune of about $10 million. And so they do have a lot of wind behind their back and support. Love's has told us as well, they came in there with the understanding, I don't know how true it is, that without a signal there, they wouldn't have considered putting their $5-10 million facility. I don't know how true that is. But that's where this conversation has been so difficult. We've had a lot of discussions, and they've drawn up a lot of different ways to do this, and it hasn't ended. There's a lot of considerations for a lot of different people. We remain with TxDOT and Dan. Safety is number one on our part. All considerations past that are second. But until they show us all the documentation, until they show TxDOT as well to prove out that it can be done how they say it can be done, we really don't wanna move in either direction at this point. We wouldn't wanna recommend to this committee to move in any sort of direction. But what we did wanna do is get it in front of you, so that you know that this is going on. It's a pretty intense topic, and one that's being discussed by quite a few individuals. And they're, the principals to both of these areas are quite active in wanting to get this signal put up, at least that one signal. So I didn't want them to know that, you know, you're part of the committee and you're unaware. So we just wanna make you aware, at least at this point, but not ask for any action, just allow us some time to come back with a staff recommendation when there is one, it will come back to this committee, so that you can, hear the staff recommendation, and then we go past that from there.
If I could just add two last things, is, Mr. Woody can tell you, we've been working together for 16, 17 years. You know that I'm pretty miserly approving traffic signals, you know, it's really gotta be a need, whatever. In this case, I think it's the right thing. And the other thing is, if we don't put one or two traffic signals, what happens instead of them? So, you know, if the councilman doesn't want a traffic signal, if the developer says, you know, he pulls out because he's frustrated, whatever the case would be, is, what is the fallback? So, and I, you know, it puts me in a corner, because I'm not gonna put the traffic signal, so I may have to restrict movements. I may have to allow the left turns going into the Loves, but then I won't allow the left turns coming out, because I'm not gonna allow 18-wheeler to come straight out the middle again, when there's already 18-wheelers coming out of the middle of the park. So it forces me in a bad position. So that's something to think about, is if you don't do a traffic signal, then do you have a better plan?
Okay, just for me to understand, you got Loves and you got cold storage wanting the stoplights. And then we have our councilman, for whatever reason, not wanting any more stoplights, correct?
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
yes.
And they, has this been shown, this exact presentation right now, this, what we're seeing, has that councilman been shown this?
None of this presentation has been shown to the council.
Now, that councilman might also be talking about no more traffic lights within this area over here and
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if it's a good idea to maybe invite him to one of these meetings.
Oh, he's gonna be invited, I'm sure.
And show him this exact, well, I mean, it would have been great for him to be sitting down at
Sure.
this conversation today.
Sure.
Because, I mean, I'm sure he's a good man, and I'm sure after seeing what we just saw, automatically your mind jumps to safety. And I think he would be convinced. And that's just me, but I think it's important to show it to him.
I entirely agree. We hadn't been at a place yet to be able to have even that conversation. I caught him actually at an MPO saying that this was coming up. And him again, just knee jerk. And it really, nobody wants any more traffic, right? And so the knee jerk was, no traffic light. But I did say also that he is not aware of all the details. I can tell you another player that wants to be a part of this conversation in front of you as well. And that's gonna be the US Cold Storage and the Love's Truck Stop. They would love to have a conversation with this committee to explain as well. But they don't have all their details yet, and so once they have those details, we'll have that full round discussion, because quite honestly, this is gonna change the makeup of Mines Road. And you think the conditions are one way right now on Mines Road. Conditions are gonna change, for the better, for worse. So, the makeup is gonna change, so this is gonna be a sizable decision by changing that. In other words, if there's signals, that's gonna be either the last signals coming out or the first signals coming in. And right now, it's south of that. But that's where it's gonna start now, so it's gonna start changing the makeup of how we start looking at that. And building up towards a chart, remember, cause a chart is coming up. So the other person, you know, we would invite as well in this planning would be our planning director, Nathan Bratton.
I'm sure he's gonna need a traffic signal too.
He's the MPO director, so, you know, he can speak as MPO director as
And the
well.
Ruthinger Road is gonna need a traffic light too. And that's a
Well,
little
we
further.
don't know how they're gonna negotiate that, or we would assume that there's gonna be some way to get to that road, and it will probably end up being something close to
Eventually,
that.
we're gonna need overpasses, so Mr. McGee, we're gonna need all of that
Start
stuff.
saving the nickels.
Yeah,
That's-
what's happening on the loop is also gonna happen here. Especially because for a long time, we've lacked in the cold storage facilities. And so a lot of that cold storage traffic, and Mr. Canales can attest to that, goes to the valley.
Right.
And so now by opening this up, we're gonna have a little bit more of that traffic.
But we have, right now, in the last, well, US Cold Storage been here for quite a while. They didn't wanna do anything because they were the only ones. Now they're popping up all over the place, and there's, in the last 2 years, there's like 4. And they decided to build a new facility, so, you know, there's a lot of money being spent on cold storage, and I know of one that they spent close to $9 million. And it's not as big as the one US Cold Storage planning on building.
That's a huge.
So, you know, you're talking about a lot of money. So that means that either, you know, not either, but both, you know, there's gonna be a lot of product coming out of Mexico, and there's product going into Mexico, so it's gonna tend to grow up.
Just one quick question, has the study been done already, or they're gonna conduct, the consultant, or they're gonna conduct the study? Is there a timetable for that, or when it'll be ready?
Right, so they've done, they've done a study, a couple studies in fact, and we've asked for additional information past that. So they've provided us a preliminary or final, but it didn't have the level of detail that we needed. So we've asked for additional things. TxDOT asked for additional things as well of them. And so, we're pending them compiling that information and getting back to us. It's as fast as they would like to see the signal. I would assume on their part, I would be working night and day to get that done back to us, to be able to get it faster, right? So, I would think on their part, they would do that. We don't have a timetable for it. They haven't told us exactly when they're gonna come back to us, but I'm assuming they're gonna come back as quickly as they can. Because as soon as they can prove up that it's warranted and it meets TxDOT's requirements and it meets traffic's requirements, they're gonna say, put my light up, or put my lights up, my signals. So it'll probably be sooner or later, I would assume probably by your next meeting. I can't see how they would drag this, because all it does is not get what they want. Time is money for them. And they're building at a frantic pace. I mean, it looks pretty well built already. They're going fast. But we'll keep you updated again, and we'll ensure if that's what the committee wants, and to invite the council member to be here. We'll definitely do that. I did run this by the city manager. He is right now convinced that a light, probably a signal, is probably warranted.